You can have an amazing, highly profitable short-term and mid-term rental business if you monitor 6 metrics like a hawk. Hello. My name is Dr. Rachel Gainsbrugh, and I am obsessed with all things rentals, revenue streams, and helping you navigate your career, real estate, and your busiest and most wonderful seasons of life. So grab your coffee, get comfortable as you get ready to learn and grow with me. This is the Luxury Rental Doctor podcast. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our training for today. I am super excited to bring this training at you. This is a training that I have not shared in a considerable amount of public places, but I want to give you a little bit of the inside scoop, because here's the thing. If you think that owning a short-term rental, mid-term rental, foreign investment that is a short-term rental is a set it and forget it, it isn't. I want to be honest with you. A lot of people think that it is, but it's not. I want to be fully transparent and fully honest with you. But the reality is that you can have an amazing, highly profitable short-term and mid-term rental business if you monitor 6 metrics like a hawk. Okay. So our businesses are, I would say, they are ripe with opportunity. We continue to generate revenue month after month. We continue to pull the right levers to make sure that we're profitable. We are able to assess and identify what are the leaky buckets, what are the things that are occurring in our business that we need to shore up in order to optimize our business. I believe in 2024, everyone can eat in this hospitality game. Everyone can win, right? As long as you have a market that you've analyzed, as long as you have a property that you're able to leverage, set up as a short-term or mid-term rental, and as long as you have launched, help is on the way, my friend. I want you to be able to elevate your property and to make sure that on a month-to-month basis, how your property is performing. So let's talk about it, guys. The path to profitability isn't just about launching your short-term rental or launching your midterm rental. That day is gone. That ship has sailed, right? We all recognize that, you know what? The guests that are coming in, they're pickier, they're choosy, and we want to make sure that we've set up ourselves and our business for success. And not only that, how do we stand out from the crowd? We want to make sure that we're the ones getting the bookings and we are set apart from the crowd. But all in all, how do you know if your property is performing in a way that makes sense for you long term? How do you know? How do you know? That is the question, right? So let's talk about it. There are key KPIs, or key performance indicators, that I need everyone to know. There are key performance indicators that I need everyone to know. And these indicators, number one, they assess if your property is vacant or if your property is occupied and by what percentage. Number two, they assess how much are you charging on a nightly basis. Number three, they normalize those numbers so that you can compare your property against another property. Say it's another property that is in your portfolio, or say it's a competitor's property. Number four, you need to assess how much money is going out every single month to operate those properties. Number six, you want to look at the net revenue. Actually, number five, you want to look at your net revenue, your net rental income. After you have evaluated how much money is coming in, then you evaluate how much money is going out. Then you want to assess, well, what's left over? And is it enough to sustain you? Okay. And number six is your ratings, your reviews, the social proof that's out there. Okay. So once those 6 numbers, you get a better and more, I would say, robust picture into your business, and you're able to really troubleshoot if need be, right? So for instance, if you're not having enough occupancy, you can troubleshoot there. Do you need to turn on a mid-term rental or medium-term rental model and drive towards that? Because if you're looking for increased occupancy, mid-term and medium-term rentals will get you there. We have about 96% occupancy on our mid-term and medium-term rental properties, okay? I don't like to drive occupancy significantly for our short-term rentals because those properties are a bit more luxury and they need to breathe. All right, so the next thing is your average daily rate. Sometimes I have seen members of our community, they want to drive occupancy, increase occupancy. And one of the number one ways that they are looking to drive and increase occupancy, and it kills me every time, is by dropping their daily rate. So say, for instance, your property is $160 per night, which is the average, the going average for a lot of short-term rental hosts. And you're like, I'm not getting all the bookings that I believe that my property deserves. So guess what? They dropped that rate to $90 per night, $99 per night. I had someone show me that they had dropped their property down to $52 per night, right? And it's just a matter of, okay, I really need to get these bookings. I'm not confident that I can offer more value. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop my price, which is a no-no, which is very, very, I really think it impacts the marketplace negatively. If your property is a bit more of the upscale property, do not drive your price all the way down. That takes a massive hammer to that listing. So I do not recommend it at all. All right, so the next thing is your revenue per active listing. It's called RevPAL. In the hospitality industry, also known as RevPAR. So that stands for revenue per available room. And what does that do? That really shows you how you can normalize the occupancy and the average daily rate so that you are able to then normalize those numbers. So it takes into those two, it combines them, and instead of reviewing a property that's at 85% occupancy, and you're thinking, okay, 85% occupancy, this property is killing it, but they had driven the price all the way down to 99 per night. Well, that RevPAR is going to be that 85% times the $99. So I'm going to do that math for you. So 0.85 times 99. So that RevPAR or RevPAL is $84.15 per night because we're normalizing it. However, say you have another property that you're charging $300 per night, but it's only occupied 65%. Are you going to say, well, boo-hoo, it's only occupied 65%, so it's not a great deal? Well, you're charging more per night. So how do we normalize that? So I'm going to take 300 times 0.65%. That's $195 per night once you have normalized it. So that's your RevPAR. So the one that was at 85% occupied is only charging 99 per night. So that gives you an overall $84.15. However, the one that is at $300 per night with a 65 occupancy rate is $195 per night, RevPAL or RevPAR. So that is how we're looking at that particular number to assess, well, which property is performing better than the other. That is how you do it quickly, is you are looking at those two numbers and you can compare the RevPAR, you can compare one to the other because it's combining those two elements, the occupancy and the average daily rate. And it really gives you a view of your property, how it's doing compared to another property in the marketplace or compared to your own property in the marketplace. You want to know this number. You want to review these metrics every single month, and you want to identify, well, am I falling short? Am I competitive enough? What is it about my property that differs from that property? Why am I performing the way I'm performing? And you're able to continue to juice up and provide more value so that your guests are willing to pay what your property deserves. And of course, we're not going to get into all of the elements of troubleshooting, but I just really want to focus with you on some of the metrics that we are looking at on a month-to-month basis. Okay, so that's 3 metrics. It's really one big metric because you're, again, combining the 2 elements into that 3rd metric. But from there, we want to know, well, is the property a leaky bucket? One thing that I think a lot of people did not take into consideration is that Investing in real estate is amazing and all. However, it may come with a price, and it does. It comes with a price. And how are you preparing for that, right? Are you taking into consideration the cost that comes with investing in real estate? Are you counting the cost? This is something that we have to assess, and we continue to assess, and we sometimes struggle to assess, right? Because we have some unexpected operating expenses that just can come out of the blue. And so our goal is to ensure that we're being proactive, right? We're being proactive because life is lifing. Our jobs, when we're working full-time W-2 in the hospital or the retail setting, it's demanding, right? And also we're caring for kiddos. I know I didn't get a chance to introduce myself to you all. I have two boys, a whole husband. I was caring for my mother-in-law with dementia. And the thing is, there is a lot that goes into living your life, managing all the things that you're responsible for, and running a real estate business. Okay. So that is why, guys, that is why I think it's really important to get really aligned and laser focused on what your goals are. I know there are a lot of educators out there that are jumping in on the let's buy these huge portfolios of properties that perhaps aren't the best and ideal properties. You have all these lackluster doors. Everyone's like, I have 100 doors, I have 100 properties that I'm investing in. They pull their money together in a group, and there's nothing wrong with that. But is it truly in alignment with what your goals are? Are you looking for a gigantic portfolio that is so overwhelming that you yourself cannot manage it? Well, my philosophy is very different. My goal is, how do I own and operate the fewest number of properties that generates the highest profitability? I am looking for real estate that is in full alignment with my lifestyle. Okay. So treat real estate like a leaky bucket. You need to understand that there are expenses that come with real estate. I've seen expenses that are so wild, guys, that it's out of control. It's completely out of control. Okay. So with that being said, I'll shoot my shot. I know somebody's going to come for me, but I was speaking with someone the other day that stated that they had 1.4 million that they were going to invest in a boutique hotel. And just looking at the numbers, the expenses alone is going to eat up that 1.4 million. So if you're someone who's looking for cash flow now, okay, not cash flow 10 years from now, if you need cash flow now, that 1.4 million, I don't care if you have 1.4 million, I don't care if you have 200,000, I don't care if you have $10,000. If you're looking for your cash flow now, I truly believe that a single family home that is 3 bedrooms plus in a decent location where short-term and midterm rentals are allowed, you can start to generate cash flow now. Okay. Now, if you're looking for cash flow 10 years from now, yes, go the boutique hotel route. It depends. Everyone has a different investment strategy. I know for some of you, you're like, who's looking for cash flow 10 years from now? There are people in our community that do not need the cash flow now. They need that type of passive income where they can defer their cash flow till later. Okay. So if that's you, yes, a boutique hotel might be the thing just for you. But if you're looking for cash flow now, I'm talking to the people who are looking for cash flow now, a single family home that is well maintained, well operated, that you are monitoring these 6 key KPIs, my 6 killer KPIs, you are good to go. Okay. So we've already covered 3. We're going to dive into the next 3, but I did have to jump on the bandwagon and let you know that strategy is so important. If you're juggling a full-time job, I was in healthcare for years. If you're juggling a full-time job, this is exactly what you need to know so that you can crush it in real estate and create cash flow for you and for your family now. Okay. All right. So my philosophy, guys, is owning the fewest number of properties that gains the highest profitability. I'm always asking myself, how do I own and operate the fewest number of properties that generate the highest profitability? For those of you who have invested in multifamily investments, for those of you who are passive investors and you say, you know what, that's nice and all that I'm getting a check for per month, but I do want something a little bit more active, something that I have full control over. If that is you, this is what we're talking about, okay? And just because you are more in tune, or I would say your comfort zone is where you're working with others who are managing properties for you, well, guess what? You can do it yourself. You can do it yourself. And that comes again with understanding these key KPIs, my 6 killer KPIs, and monitoring them on a month to month basis. Okay. All right. So, one of the ways that we shore up our leaky bucket is we understand our operating expenses. Okay. And once we have a good understanding of what it's going to cost to operate our business, we create some cash reserves so that we can cover those expenses as they come along. Another way that we're able to cover those expenses, honestly, is we request deposits, a variety of deposits from our guests. And since our guests are primarily the insurance companies, the insurance companies, they're willing and able to pay those deposits. And so that helps out a lot with shoring up the leaky bucket. Okay, so two things again, we're going to anticipate and create cash reserve. We're going to shore up our leaky bucket by requesting deposits. And the third thing for our operating expenses, we're going to actually create a maintenance schedule, okay, that will prevent issues before they happen. All right. Because at the end of the day, I do not want you draining your resources. And it is so important to go in clear-eyed to understand, what is this going to cost? Okay, what is this going to cost? Because at the end of the day, I need you to be strategic in your approach, and I need your real estate investment journey to fit right into your life. I need it to fit into your life. I don't need it to be a disruptor in a negative way of your life. Okay. And all of that comes with you knowing these key metrics and you just really figuring out a path that is tailored to you. All right. Real estate is not a one size fits all. I bet when you go online, you see all of these strategies out there, they may not be a good fit for you. Just take a step back and really evaluate, okay, with my life, with my lifestyle, is this truly a strategy that is in alignment with me, with my life, with my lifestyle, right? Ask yourself that question. All right. So that is number 4, your operating expenses. I'm just going to give you a high level. We have fixed operating expenses, and then we have variable operating expenses. And so your fixed operating expenses are, for instance, your property taxes, any insurance premiums you're paying. If you have I would say someone who is your executive assistant or a VA that's working with you, that's on a salary, it's your fixed payroll. Any licenses that you have that renews annually, or any permits or a business license, those are your fixed operating expenses. And then your variable is utilities, for instance, right? Your utilities are pretty variable. A few of them are fixed, but they're pretty variable for the most part. Housekeeping, your cleaning team, that varies based on how many check-ins and turns, or how many, for those of you who are new, I want to make it as simple as possible, but how many times that cleaner has to show up per month, depending on how many guests are staying. So those in between cleans, some months it may be 3 cleans, or some months it's 1 clean, or some months it's 4 clean. It just depends. Your supplies. For us, we supply our guests with a few starter amenities. Maintenance, unexpected maintenance are variable operating expenses, and as well as platform fees. Say you're paying for certain platforms. They have booking fees, they have guest booking fees. So those are some of the variable expenses. Hot tip though, hot tip. When we leverage our property as a short-term rental versus a midterm rental, the operating expenses differ drastically. So what do I mean by that? So they differ drastically in that the short-term rentals are properties that a guest can rent out for 2 nights or 3 nights. Less than 28 days is considered a short-term rental. A midterm rental is a property that a guest can rent out for 28 days to a year. That is a midterm rental. So whenever a guest books our property for a short-term rental versus a midterm rental, the operating expenses changes drastically. So for a short-term rental, our operating expenses is about, I would say, 35% or so. Most people, it's 45%. So all the money you make in, there may be a 45% operating expense. However, for those who are renting from us for a midterm rental, those operating expenses are about 13%. So 13% to, I want to say 20% is our operating expenses for our midterm rental, which is fantastic. So hot tip, the longer the guest stays, the less in operating expenses you should be paying. And part of that is due to we are collecting some refundable and non-refundable deposits. Okay. All right. So I hope that gives you a little bit of insight. So that is killer tip number. Let's see, what number is that, guys? Number 4, 2 more to go. So number 5 is your rental income, your net rental income. So you're going to take all of your revenue, all the money that you're making, you're going to subtract what you spent to operate your business, and then that number is your net rental income. And my goal is minimum 5K per month is our net rental income. That is the goal, okay? And we're able to achieve that with a lot of our midterm rentals, and we love it. And in our short-term rentals, our larger short-term rentals that are in destination markets, we are able to achieve that as well. But you don't achieve those numbers overnight, right? You don't achieve them by accident. You need a strategy. You need a strategy to achieve those numbers. And we look to achieve them on paper before we get into the property. It's so important. We look to achieve them on paper before we get into the property. And we underwrite the deal on paper first. We buy, we sell, we rent it out all on paper. And I know this is not going to be a market analysis talk, but these numbers should not surprise you at the end of the month. All right. Last but not least, key performance indicator number 6. The number 6, and it's one of the most important actually, is your guest reviews, also known as your guest ratings. This is so very important because let me tell you something. Getting that feedback from your guests can really lead to you having just a massive amount of growth, and it makes you really unstoppable in the marketplace. There are so many members right now in the marketplace that are your competitors or that are your future competitors if you haven't launched quite yet. They are not taking into consideration and collecting guest feedback. Your guests will tell you exactly what they love, exactly what they hate about your property. And we have a way of automatically collecting that information. Is so important to automate a lot of this. Again, I'm speaking to a lot of you who are working full time right now. Some of you who hopped on this live, you're doing it out of the comfort of the med room at the hospital, and you're trying to catch the goods while you're there, and you have no idea how much I appreciate you being here with me. But the guest feedback is a game changer. So we have 8 messages that we automate every single time. There are 8 messages that you must automate every single time. But in addition to that, when the guest leaves their review, they are letting us know in private and in public, how did we do? You know, were the cleaners great? Were they not so great, right? Were there amenities in the property that surprised and delighted them? Or was it not at all, right? And when your guest gives you this type of feedback, if it's just honest and open, you have to have nerves of steel. Just take it, right? Just take it. We have ways of getting the feedback before it's time to leave a review. We can get a couple of times, we got some not so great initial feedback from a guest that still left us a 5-star review because there was an issue and we addressed it right away. Okay. So leveraging guest feedback is one of the best kept secrets, and it's one of the most powerful and amazing ways to change the trajectory of your business and to become I would say, a market maker, to just blow all of the properties away in your particular market. And a hot tip as well, I not only review my guest reviews, but I review all of the other guest reviews that are in my market. I want to know exactly what those guests are loving about the space, what they're hating about the space. It's where we were able to discover somewhere in Boston that the guests were coming to see the Edgar Allan Poe Museum, which is No. It was the Edgar Allan Poe Cemetery. A lot of people were talking about that, and that is not something that would have been on my radar ever. But yeah, that's what they were there for. So I thought that was so interesting. I wouldn't have known that had it not been for the guest reviews. So the guest reviews are a treasure trove of information. Some of it is so dramatic that I have to pull out some popcorn. I feel like I'm watching a Lifetime movie of the stories that the guests are telling in the reviews. But what it does for you as a host and a business owner, it helps you to identify, you know what, like what are the gaps in this particular marketplace? What are the issues that I'm seeing that are recurring? What are the ways that I can then improve upon my property so that I can stand out in the marketplace? So you will rarely hear me whining and complaining about saturation, and that is the reason. It is because I am constantly looking for guest feedback and I'm leveraging it for our unstoppable growth. Okay. All right. So there is just nothing, there's more to understanding these metrics, guys. It's not just, okay, I know these 6 things, I'm going to put them in the back of my pocket, but do you have a system in place to apply them in a way that aligns with your business goals? We're not monitoring them every single day. I'm going to be quite honest. We're not monitoring them every single day. We're monitoring them on a month-to-month basis. However, there's an uptick when our seasonality is low. So if it's during a time of the year where, okay, we're not getting the bookings that we're expecting or anticipating, we monitor them a little bit closer and we're adjusting a few things in our property based on monitoring that a little bit closer. We're looking at troubleshooting our properties if we're not showing up on page 1. Just like on Google, if you do a Google search and you're not showing up on page 1, guess what? Nobody's going to page 2 to look for your property. So we're measuring those types of things. So if occupancy is our problem, then we're looking to see, number 1, are we showing up on page 1? Okay. So each person, I think each business person is going to have a unique approach. Feel free to grab these 6, let me see, these 6 killer KPIs. I call my 6 killer KPIs, 6 killer key performance indicators. Use them in your business. If you haven't launched yet, there's no worries. If you've launched, I hope you're monitoring this on a monthly basis because it's not just set it and forget it, but everything is figure outable, right? And it matters. The reason it matters is when we look at our guest reviews and we increase our guest satisfaction, guess what? We're able to charge what we think the properties deserves. But if your guest reviews are low, you're going to have to decrease your price. You're just going to have to get more guests and to get better reviews so that you can optimize that property and go back to what you think your property needs to be earning. Okay. Alrighty, guys, that is pretty much it. I do want to drop a link for you guys so that we can connect. If you are feeling like you need support, you need guidance, if you're feeling that, like, you know what? These KPIs are amazing. I have launched my business. I have not yet implemented these KPIs and I am struggling. I would love to get on a call with you. And I would love to get you on a call with our team. It's shorttermgems.com/book. But if you're feeling like, you know what? I don't even have a property. I haven't even figured out a market. How do I get started with this short-term rental, mid-term rental business? Feel free to connect with us, shorttermgems.com/book, so that we can get you on the inside. We can work with you elbow to elbow to give you that community, to give you that accountability, to give you the step by step, my 7 steps to launching your first short term rental, and then helping you with the optimization on the back end. Okay. So there's so much potential in this space. If you're a healthcare professional fighting for your life with real estate investing and you're not quite making your numbers, guys, it is going to be imperative for you to monitor a variety of markets to find the right market to invest in. Once you found the right market, you need a team to come alongside you to help you to set up the property in a way that is going to drive revenue. And then you're going to monitor it, right? We're not just going to set it and forget it. For those of you in healthcare, when we give metformin, when we give our patients dilaudid, when we give a PCA, we're going to monitor. We're going to monitor, we're going to assess, okay, are they doing well on this medication or do we need to adjust? And that's how business is. It's all a matter of shooting your shot, you doing the best that you can with the information that you have. You're looking at the lab report, you're like, okay, potassium is low. Let me throw in some KCl right quick, 20 milliequivalents of KCl. So once you throw in some potassium to increase the potassium to a normal level, the next day we're going to take some blood. We're going to draw some blood and we're going to go ahead and monitor. Did it come up? Are we at normal values or do we need to reassess? Okay. All right, so keep that in mind, guys. This is what we are doing inside of our community. We are launching our properties. We are assessing, we are reassessing. The vast majority of our members are launching in the mid-term rental space. Many of our members are launching in the short-term rental space, and we have a lot of interest in the foreign investment space. We have a handful that are looking to invest in Portugal and Dubai for short-term rentals, and this is what we are talking about in the community. I don't care if you're investing in Dubai. I don't care if you're investing in Portugal. I don't care if you're investing in Kansas City, Missouri, or Indianapolis, Indiana, or Atlanta, Georgia, or New York, New York. I don't care where you're investing. You need to use these KPIs. These key performance indicators, they are applicable to all of the markets. At the end of the day, are people booking my properties? At the end of the day, am I making an average daily rate that is meaningful enough for me to have some cash flow at the end? At the end of the day, what are my operating expenses? How much is it costing me to run this rental property? From there, what is my net revenue? And from there, are my guests really happy every single time they visit my property or do they hate it, right? And I hate to be so harsh, but hey, the truth is the truth and the truth will set you free. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go in. Okay, so Roland is asking about the initial cost of furnishings. Okay, so Roland, the initial cost of furnishings, it really depends on the level of furnishings. Okay, so for example, I work with a number of wholesalers that are inside of our community. And I know I've seen you before, Roland. So if you are a member, definitely tap in. So our wholesalers have been able to put together packages for our members for furnishings. I would say about 12 or $13,000 to fully furnish a 3 bedroom and about 14 or $15,000 to fully furnish a 4 bedroom. And that includes linens, that includes all of the kitchen essentials. But I'm working with a wholesaler that is inside of our community that's able to provide those amazing prices. And those prices are not going to be easy to find on the streets, okay? And the furnishings are West Elm, Pottery Barn, high quality because we want to provide an upscale to ultra luxury stay. So if you're looking to do upscale to ultra luxury stay with durable materials that are going to last in your property month after month and still be budget friendly, yeah, that that is the method. That is the path and the method that I would take for sure. Marie says, I am aligned with your philosophy. Thank you, Marie. Yeah, I appreciate that. Marie, I had to find that out, my philosophy out, and get like really laser focused on this particular philosophy when I had shiny object syndrome. Okay. So everyone was talking about wholesaling. And I was like, oh, okay. So that's great, right? Because I was coming off of my Dave Ramsey bandwagon. And so everything had to be cheap, everything had to be free. No offense, Dave, right? Rice and beans and rice. So obviously, the next best option if you want to invest in real estate is wholesaling, right? It costs nothing to start, or so they stated. However, my best and highest use as a human being, as a person at that time, was actually to work my W-2 and leverage that to get my first down payment. And that's exactly what I did instead. Because when I counted the cost, when I recognized that, wow, wholesaling is great and all, but I have to go and knock on doors. I'm sure there are better ways now, but back then in 2018, when we first started, you mean to tell me I have to go and knock on doors? You mean I have to go and send out these letters? I have to be glued to my phone to answer these phone calls, because I didn't have a team in place. I didn't have a team of VAs that I trained, right? I didn't have a call center, so to speak. So I had to count the cost and realize, okay, they're saying it costs nothing to start, but is this a fit? Is this a fit for me, for my life, for my lifestyle? And it just wasn't. So I went the most obvious route and I said, okay, I just watched HGTV and these people just made $40,000 on a flip. So obviously, fix and flip, that looks easy. Well, guess what? Turns out that's a full-time job. And I already had a full-time job, right? And so I just started to go down the line and really count the costs. Everyone's talking about multifamily investing. Yeah, you're going to put in $50,000 and it's going to sit there and you may get a check cut for you for, a couple hundred a quarter. Well, that's not cash flow now. That is not cash flow now. And so I continue to go down the line, and the only thing that made sense to me at that point was luxury short-term rental investing. Launched that, stumbled upon luxury midterm rental investing, and the rest is history. Okay, so that is my goal. That is the vibe. It's all about how do I own and operate the fewest number of properties that generate the highest profitability. That is the season that I'm in. And these properties can be here in the US, these properties can be overseas, in Dubai, in Portugal. It doesn't matter as long as you know these KPIs while you're investing. All right. We were just a recap, guys. We're just going over the 6 killer KPIs. If you're starting a short-term rental or mid-term rental business, understand what it takes to monitor your business on a month-to-month basis. And you can increase that monitoring strategy depending on how if your rental's in critical condition, right? If we need to breathe life into it, if we need the airway team to resuscitate your rental, if we need to call in the airway team, well, you're going to want to monitor it a little bit closer. But everything is figure outable. It's not, I'm just going to sit here in language and not let my property do well, not let my property perform. Okay. So I just want to bring this training to you. High level overview, the 6 killer KPIs that you need to measure is your occupancy, is your average daily rate, is a combination of those two elements called your RevPAL or your RevPAR. You want to measure your operating expenses. How much money are you using to build this business out, to run the business on a month-to-month basis? From there, you want to measure your net rental income. How much money is coming in after all the bills are paid? And from there, you want to measure your guest reviews. Again, I went on a tangent on the guest reviews, but honestly, the guest reviews, guys, are make it or break it. They have helped us to not only reposition our properties in the marketplace, but sadly, they have been a driving decision maker when it comes to a property that's not performing well due to cleaning team issues. Our guest reviews help us to make quick decisions. If we're seeing the same problems being mentioned again and again, we end up having to let some people go because we're looking for cleaners who are in alignment with what it is that we're looking to accomplish, and your cleaners can make or break your business. So it's really important to have a deep bench of cleaners because the guest reviews can make or break your business. All righty, guys. So those are the 6 killer KPIs that you need to know. We are benchmarking these on a month-to-month basis, and we're making drastic decisions along the way. If we're not hitting our numbers, which are a minimum of 5K per month in net rental income, we're saying, you know what? Nope, enough is enough. We need to make some changes. And these are the levers that we are pulling in to make those changes. Alrighty. Well, I hope this was helpful to someone. If you feel as though, you know what? I need to elevate my short-term rental game. I need to elevate my midterm rental game. I need to launch a property. I need to readjust my current property because I'm nowhere near as optimized as I need to be. I didn't even know about these metrics. Well, these are the metrics that we monitor every single month. All of our members, they know to fill out their monthly assessment form to see exactly where they are. And we talk about it. Okay. We need to rate our properties. We need to make sure that we're not just running a business. This business isn't just running us. We're actually running a business. Okay. So if you're ready to deep dive, again, shorttermgems.com/book, shorttermgems.com/book. We want to turn your real estate investing strategy into a revenue generating powerhouse but it comes with community, it comes with the right resources. So I look forward to connecting with you. Give me a follow on all the social platforms. We'll continue to bring these trainings to you on a week to week basis. But if you go to shorttermgems.com/book, we'll go ahead and connect with you and see if we can help you on your real estate investing journey. All right. Love you guys.